Welcome to Sacrilegious Discourse.
For this is what the Sovereign Lord says.
Why do you need prophets to tell people who you are and what you want?
If you can justify everything that the God of the Bible has done, then you can justify any of your behavior.
A lot of this mentality is trickling into what is now mainstream right-wing Christianity.
I am capable of empathy greater than this God of the Bible.
This is a Bible that they tell kids. This is the good Lord. This is the good book. He is fantasizing about murder, mass murder.
Head over to sacrilegiousdiscourse.com right now to find out how to leave us a review or support us on Patreon.
Hey there, sinners and saints. It's your favorite Bible-bashing duo from Sacrilegious Discourse, and we need your help.
That's right, folks. We're raising funds for some heavenly equipment and a studio that doesn't sound like it's in the depths of hell.
Our current setup, let's just say it's more apocalypse than audiophile.
So if you want to hear us dissect the Bible without the background noise of demonic squirrels, chip in a few bucks.
We're aiming for $5,000 to upgrade our audio and build a studio worthy of blasphemous banter.
Donate today and help us spread the good word of atheism.
You can find a link right on our homepage, sacrilegiousdiscourse.com. Every dollar counts.
Even if it's from your collection plate. Husband!
Wife!
Guess what we're doing today?
We are starting a new book of the Bible.
We are.
Yeah, and this is the 36th book of the Bible.
It sure as fuck is.
We have gone through so many books. This is crazy.
And moreover, there's only 3 after this, and we'll be done with the Old Testament.
Wow.
And none of them are that long. So, I mean, we're practically done with the OT, baby.
No, this is incredible. Yeah, thank you to all of our fans for making this journey with us so far.
It's really made the project fun.
It has. You guys are... I mean, this sounds really corny, but you're like the wind beneath our wings.
Seriously.
But no, like I still remember like it was yesterday when we had like 5 people listening a week, you know, like that was a thing.
It was a thing.
And now we have thousands.
Across the globe.
Yeah, it's incredible.
The round globe, because we are not
not flat earthers. Yeah.
Right.
No.
Right.
Yeah. All right. Well, so this is, we're getting into, what is it now?
It's not Zechariah. It's Zephaniah.
Yeah. We had a little faux pas. I had to redo this intro. So.
Yeah. That's my bad.
Zephaniah.
All
right. Are you ready to get into this?
I sure as fuck am.
Let's do it.
Okie dokie. All right. Well, before we hop into the actual reading of chapter 1, I wanted to say a couple things.
Okay.
First of all, in the intro, I mentioned that there's only 3 minor prophets after this, 3 books after this.
Yeah.
They are 3 of the 12 minor prophets.
Okay.
Okay. The reason I bring that up is because most apologists, I don't know, not necessarily scholars, but people that are fans of how the Old Testament supports the New Testament.
Okay.
So maybe apologist is the correct term.
Sure.
They claim that the first 9 of the minor prophets all take place prior to the exile, and that the last 3 are post-exile.
Okay. So these are going to be more newer, relevant type things.
Well, we're reading the last of the pre-exile. Okay. And then...
Oh, I see. I see. Okay, so this is still pre-exile. The next 3 after this
are supposedly...
are going to be post-exile.
Right.
According to people.
Yes.
And things.
We have read enough at this point that there's a lot of doubt as to any of them being pre-exile. We don't know.
Well, most of them that I recall, based on what we were able to come up with, were hypothetically written pre-exile, but some of them were inserted with new information post-exile.
Right.
So it just kind of depends on how you look at it, I think.
I guess.
So, but yeah, so far I think mostly it's been pre-exile. That makes sense to me.
All right.
So.
Well, I just wanted to put that out there because I think it gives it a little bit of context, and it separates the 12 minor prophets a little bit for me.
Yeah, and if anybody's jumping in here from before, when we say pre-exile and post-exile, we're talking about the Babylonian exile.
Right.
Just to clarify.
Yes, that is correct. Sorry.
No, it's all right. We get lost in our own little fucking world of
what I knew what I meant.
You guys haven't been listening for 1,200 episodes? Come on. What the fuck? Keep up.
Exactly. Well, the book of Zephaniah was originally composed in biblical Hebrew.
Okay.
Yeah. As many of them were.
Right.
And it likely underwent later additions and redactions.
No fucking way.
I know you'll be surprised to hear.
I'm shocked. Yeah.
Scholars debate its date of composition, and some suggest it originated in the 7th century BCE, while others propose significant editing during or more likely after the Babylonian exile.
Boy, that sounds familiar, doesn't it?
Yeah, it really does. Yeah.
It's like it could take this whole fucking synopsis of when it was written and just apply it to almost every fucking minor prophet.
Exactly. There is no external evidence linking the text directly to a particular historical Zephaniah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
So as usual, dude may or may not have existed, but we have, other than this book saying he did, this 3 chapters.
Yeah.
We don't know.
Hey, that's enough proof for people that believe the Bible. So.
This is an interesting one in that it emphasizes, quote, the day of the Lord, which we've heard before.
We have.
It was a theme first introduced in the book of Amos, or Amos, as I called him.
Right.
And then was later echoed in Isaiah, Ezekiel, Obadiah, Joel, and we'll read about it again in Malachi.
Got it. Okay. As I recall, and maybe I'm recalling incorrectly, but the day of the Lord to me always seemed like a day of reckoning, a day of like maybe destruction or coming to term, like God's going to do some shit. Yeah. Basically.
Yeah, exactly. He's going to get you.
Right.
He coming.
I mean, the good will be okay still because there's always, that.
Except for when they're not, because sometimes he just kills the good with the bad.
Right.
You shouldn't have been born there.
Right.
Zephaniah's oracles, his prophecies, whatever you want to call them, focus on impending divine judgment.
Okay.
Which you said.
Yep.
Reflecting other pre-exilic concerns about Judah's moral decay and post-exilic theological reflections on the destruction and hopeful restoration.
Got it.
So it's we know shit is about to go bad because we see the way the winds are blowing. And so, we need to make a blame for why we're about to get our asses kicked. And then after the fact, we need to continue making an excuse for why we got our asses kicked.
Right.
And also that same reasoning allows us to rally around the family with a pocket full of shells, so to speak, and gives us a rally cry to help us join together in hope as we commiserate for a hopeful restoration.
Right. Yeah. I feel like that's why there's these sections that were older and then insertions later that were from the post-exile, because the pre-exile stuff that they write is generally very judgmental of their condition and then how they worship God.
Yeah.
The post-exile is usually, we understand why we got punished and now we need to come to grips with, worshiping our God so we can make things better again.
Exactly.
Right. And so when they got to the post-exile side, they took all these books and they're like, we really need to rebuild. And how do we rebuild? We need to love God more.
Yes.
So let's love God more.
And let's condemn how shitty we were. Like, oh man, we were so bad. Remember in the days when we used to not buckle up and we smoked in the cars and we let kids ride in the back seat? Oh, man.
It's like all these stories justify what happened to them.
Yeah.
Right? They're like, well, our ancestors were shitty. So we got exiled, but now we just need to love God.
Yeah.
And we need to reconcile ourselves to loving God.
Exactly.
To fix things,
Yeah.
So, but
perfect.
It makes sense in a very old world type manner.
Sure.
So, yeah.
Zephaniah's denunciation of corruption and injustice aligns with Josiah's reforms.
Okay.
So he was during that same time period.
Got it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Suggesting he supported efforts to restore monotheistic worship. Okay. Remember, Josiah was the good king.
Yeah.
According to these people.
Sure.
He got rid of all the Baal stuff and was like, y'all need to stop with all this worshiping other gods nonsense.
Yeah.
His predictions of devastation also reflect broader historical anxieties as the region faced threats from the Scythians and later the Babylonians.
Got it.
So they were all like, the end is nigh, and ringing their ding-dong bells.
Yeah.
And, we need to get our shit straight. Like the man in New York with the sandwich board, Like, it's the same concept.
Yeah.
Like, it's the messenger standing out there saying, shit is about to go south, and if we only get our shit together, we might be able to avoid it. Probably not. You're doomed.
Right.
In which case, I'm like, why are you standing out there then? Like, what is your purpose?
Yeah.
If we're going to be doomed, it's going to happen whether you tell us or not.
It's true.
So,
yeah.
I don't know.
But I think people just like to be right,
I know I do.
I mean, you can't be more right than if you predict the end of the world, right?
That's true.
I mean, then you're like, damn, that sandwich board guy, he was the rightest. He was the most right.
He knew what he was fucking talking about.
That end, it really was nigh.
Remember when he was ringing his bell?
It's just that there's nobody left to
I know.
congratulate him for it.
I know.
So.
Like, how's that going for you, sir?
Right, yeah.
So let's talk about the dude himself, right?
Yeah.
His name, Zephaniah's name, is interpreted as Yahweh has hidden, or Yahweh has protected, or even the watchman of the Lord.
Okay. Yeah.
And the book attributes its authorship to Zephaniah, son of Cushi, son of Gedaliah, son of Amariah, son of Hezekiah, in the days of King Josiah, son of Ammon and Judah.
That's a lot of sons of whoever to not know who the fuck this guy is.
It is. But the reason why I actually read all of that, for one thing, it's going to be in the chapter that we read.
Okay. Yeah.
But why I read all that is that is a genealogy that suggests royal lineage.
Oh, because of Hezekiah, or what's the royal lineage portion of that?
Yes, Hezekiah.
Okay, all right.
Potentially linking him to King Hezekiah, who lived in 716 to 687 BCE.
Okay. All right.
So, and that's important because it lends credibility, quote unquote, to him being a prophet walking through the world during those days.
Okay.
Like, he wasn't just a nobody. He was a somebody. He was a royal person.
Except that there's no actual historical account of this guy.
Right.
Okay.
But if we're granting, okay, let's say that this person actually existed, blah, 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 then they're saying, yes, and he was this.
No, and that's all well and good, except for the fact that, the Bible also says that the line of David died off, and yet Jesus is still part of the line of David.
Yeah.
So I take issue with their idea of what lineage means.
Sure.
So.
No, I totally agree with you. I'm just putting it out there because it's information that helps give a little bit more context to the story.
Sure.
Okay. He likely lived in Jerusalem and had access to high-ranking officials.
If he was real.
Sure. And if he was actually descended from Hezekiah.
Right.
And one of the reasons that we also think that maybe this happened is because he had a lot of knowledge of the city's inner workings, apparently. Not having read it yet, I don't know.
Right, but it also could have been somebody in the church type places.
It could have been a fucking street sweeper.
Right. But I'm saying that if you invoke the name of people that are more powerful, it gives it more credibility and credence, right?
Right.
So, I mean, it doesn't necessarily mean that this person existed, at least, but they may have just invoked that lineage to, make it seem more important.
Right. I'm just, again, putting it out there and letting you know what's being said.
I get it. I'm throwing out a possible alternative to what that could have been. That's all.
Sure. His contemporaries would have included Nahum, Habakkuk, and Jeremiah.
Okay.
Who was not a bullfrog.
Right. I was waiting for that.
And some scholars suggest that he was even influenced by Isaiah.
Okay.
And I have no fun name for him because Isaiah is too boring.
It's Isaiah, yeah.
His ministry is traditionally dated to the early reign of King Josiah, which was 640 to 609 BCE. Possibly between 630 and 625 BCE is when he might have been running around spouting his shit.
Yeah.
And that's before Josiah's reforms, his religious reforms of 622 BCE.
Okay.
So some would say that suggests that Josiah was influenced by Judah spouting off Zephaniah, running around singing about everything. But I'm like, but he wasn't the only one. So shut the fuck up.
Right.
Some scholars argue portions of the book reflect a later period, which, makes more sense.
Yeah.
It was edited, possibly post 586 BCE after Judah's fall to Babylon.
Okay.
Which goes with what you were saying.
Yeah. Well, that's after the fall. It's not necessarily after the restoration, but.
No. Well, and it wouldn't have been after the restoration.
Okay.
Because it would have been a rallying cry for the restoration.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying.
The absence of direct references to Babylon at all suggests an early date, but then conversely, there's a bunch of intertextual references that do reference Babylon.
That's not confusing or anything.
No. And so those indicate subsequent editing.
Got it.
And I'm like, so it didn't mention it, but it did mention it? I don't understand. How do you tell which one is it mentioned before?
It depends on how you want to interpret it.
Sure.
Right?
Before there was one of the books that we read that referred to somebody as Canaanites instead of Assyrians or some shit like that. I don't remember. It was way earlier. It was several books back. But because of the way they referred to their enemies, gave historians a clue as to when it was written.
Got it.
And I can't recall.
I don't think that would have been the comparison. But.
Probably not. But it was some example like that.
Sure.
Where how they referred to their enemy, the word that they used was an older word or a newer word. I can't remember. And that indicated editing or something like that.
In time frames, right?
Yeah. During Zephaniah's time, Judah faced religious corruption under Manasseh and Amon, including Baal and Astarte worship. Okay. And so all of that shit was happening, and child sacrifice and, all of these things. Okay.
Right.
His prophetic message aligns with Josiah's reforms, strongly condemning idolatry and foreign influences.
Got it. Before you get into the reading, I did want to say that it's been on my mind since you said it, that I think that somebody that was really talented at imitating Foghorn Leghorn could incorporate Isaiah into that. Isaiah.
Yeah, exactly.
That was the only thing. I was like, that might work, but I'd have to be better at imitating Foghorn Leghorn before I could make that work.
I did okay.
Did you?
I did. I did.
You did?
Fuck off.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
You did.
I did.
You did a great job.
I know I did.
You did a wonderful job.
You need to fuck off right now. All right. So we're going to read Zephaniah chapter 1 now.
All right.
Yep. And I don't typically read the preface thing, like the little title cards.
Yeah.
But this one is The Day of the Lord's Wrath. Okay. And since we mentioned the Day of the Lord in our little intro, I don't feel guilty.
There you go.
Sorry, not sorry kind of thing. All right, here we go. The word of the Lord that came to Zephaniah, son of Cushi, the son of Gedaliah, the son of Amariah, the son of Hezekiah.
Yeah.
During the reign of Josiah, son of Ammon, king of Judah.
Jesus Christ.
Okay.
That's all the fucking lineage bullshit is so like, I'm like, okay, like there's just name. And like by the time they get done, I'm like, who the fuck are we talking about now?
Right. Zephaniah.
I know.
Right.
But I mean, it's so confusing.
It makes me remember like Daenerys Stormborn, last of her line, and something Targaryen, something Mother of Dragons, and Who's What's It, and Khaleesi from wherever. And
people are really overly impressed by who, made them.
Well, yeah.
I'm like, I don't care, really.
It gives them a sense of their lineage. It tells who they are.
Well, let's just be perfectly honest. It grants them importance. It grants them a status that they wouldn't have otherwise in these cultures, because in different cultures and in times past, who your dad was and who your dad's dad was, etc., meant something, and it meant what class you are now.
Yeah.
So you have to say those things to reinforce where you belong and where you are able to insert yourself into that life.
Totally. So. Yeah, I don't have a strong lineage like that, so I don't. I mean, you see people in, the Northeast of America that are like, Mayflower, like we came from the Mayflower, our descendants directly, blah, blah, blah. And it's like,
but it doesn't, in the US, it doesn't necessarily translate to, status.
It does in their areas. It does. For them, it does.
Okay.
It doesn't in a larger United States power structure way, but in their cute little neighborhoods, it does.
Right.
It's showing off.
Right. I gotcha.
It's like if you have a small town and you're like, my dad's the mayor.
But it doesn't automatically grant you a standing just because of who your parents and grandparents were.
We think that they don't agree with you. And, how much status you believe you have. I said automatically.
Like, you still have to, be able to make money. You still have to take the money that your dad gave you and go to college and do something with it.
Do you? Because Trump didn't seem to...
Well, I'm saying in general. Trump...
But that's what I'm saying. The more that you believe in the status that you pretend to have, that you just... The status is what?
No, there's no doubt about it.
You walk through the world believing you're a fucking king and you can make a bunch of other dum-dums believe it.
No, if you have money to begin with, you're going to be better off in general. And I mean, there is a class system in the United States.
Yeah.
And if you were rich, coming into this world, chances are you've got a much better chance of being rich leaving the world. So, that's just the way it works.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, class systems.
Yeah.
Yesterday, class systems today.
It's true.
It's all the fucking same.
It's just it's done differently than in the past. I guess.
I don't know.
It's the only real difference.
It annoys me up one side and down the other. I see no difference, is what I'm saying.
Right.
It's all a bunch of bullshit nonsense, and I'm like, but you're still a dick. At the end of it. Moreover, let's even say this. At the end of the day, they all have buttholes.
Yeah.
And I just cannot take seriously anyone who has to use toilet paper and wipe shit out of their butt cracks.
Yeah.
And that is the entire human experience. We all have to do that. Right. So I'm like,
I have a question for you. How well do I deal with people that think they're better than me?
Oh, pity the fool. Pity the fool, honestly.
I'm just saying, I hate that mentality. Well, if you think you're better than another human being, you need to re-examine yourself.
Yeah.
Because that's not the proper way to exist. You are not better than another human being. You might have different abilities than that person, but that doesn't make you better. It makes you different.
Yeah.
So it's just one of those things that I can't stand about certain people who act their status. Their unearned status.
Their unearned self-ascribed status.
Right.
Yeah. I can remember one time a particular person was getting in my face about something, and I just started laughing, and I go, but you live in Ohio. And that stopped them dead cold, because how do you argue that? If you are so goddamn special and wonderful, what the fuck are you doing in Ohio? Not to diss Ohio, but
sure,
in the hierarchy of very important, cool places in the world.
So this is low on the
Ohio's not at the top.
Yeah.
Okay. It's not even in the top 10 states of awesome places to live.
Right.
And so I'm like, you live in Ohio. You can't, you don't have anything. Who are you? You have a butthole, You have a butthole and you're in Ohio. I can't possibly take you seriously.
Right.
All right. So anyway, carrying on. This dude, that was all verse 1, which in other translations was a superscript.
Got it.
Okay. So now we're actually starting the
Zephaniah.
First chapter of Zephaniah.
Okay.
I believe this is God speaking. It's quotes. I will sweep away everything from the face of the earth. Yeah, declares the Lord.
Yeah.
I will sweep away both man and beast. I will sweep away the birds in the sky and the fish in the sea and the idols that cause the wicked to stumble.
But he said he was never going to do that again. Or or is he just going to do this in a localized area?
He's just sweeping them away. He's not flooding them. He's sweeping.
Oh, so as long as we're sweeping and not flooding, we're good? Okay.
Yeah, that promise was only about the flood. He mentioned nothing about volcanic ash or big brooms.
Got it. Yeah. Okay.
When I destroy all mankind on the face of the earth, the whole fucking earth.
When, not if.
When.
Yeah.
I will be doing this thing.
Right. Yeah.
Declares the Lord.
Yeah.
I will stretch out my hand against Judah and against all who live in fucking Jerusalem.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you're all fucked.
Yeah.
Even if you were on my team.
Yeah.
Even if you're one of my people.
Exactly.
You're all screwed. Mm-hmm. You're all dead.
Fuck every single individual one of you.
Okay.
For reasons.
Again, this is part of the reason I just can't stand this God that they created. You know,
meant to be. What? And there's a plan.
He loves killing all people.
Yep. I will destroy every remnant of Baal worship in this place. Will you, though?
But he just said he was going to destroy everything and all the things.
The whole city.
Why would we point out specifically we're going to destroy all Baal? It doesn't matter. You're killing everything and everybody and every living creature.
Right. Including the Baal worship, I guess.
Right.
What? The very names of the idolatrous priests. So basically, he's like, everybody sucks, but the people that I hate most are those who are leading the people astray, which is all these fucking priests.
No, I get it, but like, once you say you're going to kill everybody, everything else is, you don't have to say anything else. Yeah, that's it. We're done.
But they love to hear themselves speak.
But this is why this isn't God.
Right.
This is people just being overly, zealous about like what their God's going to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
those who bow down on the roofs to worship the starry host, that is the sun and the moon and the stars in the sky. Like there were people that worshipped those kinds of things. Yeah. So those who bow down on the roofs to worship the starry host. That
actually makes more sense to me as a type of like thing to worship as opposed to just a smoke god or whatever the fuck he is.
Well, I read something actually that kind of defended it because it was even somewhat loosely like early science based because it, the seasons were impacted. Like you could see.
Yeah.
You could measure time with it.
To me, that makes sense. You're actually working towards you're learning something. You're paying attention to the things that might matter to you, actually.
Yes.
In a scientific manner, but relating it to God's. But still, you're heading in the right direction at that point.
It makes sense why that would be something.
Right. There was other cultures like the Aztecs that worship things like that. And they had some of the most accurate calendars that, I mean, like it helped. Like those kinds of things helped society. I don't see how this God really helped much. No. There wasn't, not as far as like scientific development or thought. Right. It was just a fear-based God that kept people in line through
think about like
trying to kill them.
Think about like Stonehenge, right?
Yeah.
Like I don't know when that was built, but like it was discovered only in I think the 20th century, the 1900s, maybe. Right. That it was actually a fucking calendar.
Right.
Based on the sun and the shadows and stuff like that.
But if you think about it, like if your God is natural things, right? You're going to respect natural things, right? Whereas with Yahweh, you're taught to respect this God who then uses natural things to put you into fear. So you actually fear the natural things that you should probably be learning about as opposed to admiring them and respecting them the way you probably ought to.
And from the very first, it's man-made. It's man-centric.
Right.
From the very first chapter.
Yeah, this is a very selfish God. I mean, just as far as humans are concerned, this is a very selfish God.
Right. And the people who created him
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's what I meant, is that the people that created this God are very self-centered and self-centric. So
yeah, and man-centric.
And man-centric, yes, yes.
Those who bow down on the roofs to worship the starry host, God is continuing. Those who bow down and swear by the Lord, and who also swear by Molech. Those who turn back from following the Lord and neither seek the Lord nor inquire of him.
Let me just check in real quick. He's still killing everybody, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yes, he is.
Just double checking.
All right. That was the end of God talking. Now we have dude talking.
Zephaniah. Yeah.
Be silent before the sovereign Lord, for the day of the Lord is near. That's the
Right,
day
the
of
reckoning
the Lord.
thing, yeah.
The end is nigh.
Sure.
The Lord has prepared a sacrifice. He has consecrated those he has invited.
Okay.
Let's see. Hold on. Okay. I just was trying to see who is speaking because we got a set of quote marks, but I think it's still Zephaniah.
Okay.
On the day of the Lord's sacrifice, I will punish the officials. No, it's God. It's God.
Okay. All right.
On the day of the Lord, me's sacrifice.
That's really weird, but
right?
okay. All right.
I will punish the officials and the king's sons and all those clad in foreign clothes. We hate foreigners.
We don't like them.
No, we always hate foreigners. Get the fuck out of America.
Yeah.
I mean,
Right.
wait, no, I meant...
You're welcome here. As far as we're concerned, anyway.
Yeah. That was a misnomer. I meant to say get out of whatever.
Actually, you know what? I gotta say, Trump seems to be on board with foreigners as long as they have $5 million or more.
And probably white. I'm betting a rich brown foreigner.
I mean, $5 million. You get a gold card. It's a gold card. You just got to pay $5 million. You're in.
But they're at the bottom of his list of millionaires. I bet. I just bet. Although he doesn't seem to have a problem with like the Saudis and stuff like that.
I think if there's money involved, he doesn't really give a fuck.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. But he wouldn't want his daughter to marry
I gotta wonder where all those $5 million are going. You're right. He wouldn't want his daughter to marry one of them, probably.
Right.
But I do have to wonder where all that money is going.
Yeah.
Like where does that $5 million for the gold card go?
Into his pocket.
Probably.
He's personally selling them.
Is he? Well, we don't know that for sure.
It's my understanding that he is.
That can't possibly be legal. But okay. Well, we'll cover that some other time.
I was going to say, we've talked about this before. Legality has taken on an entirely new definition because there's what's on the books and there's what's enforced.
Right.
And if there's no enforcement, it doesn't matter what's on the books.
Right. Yeah.
So what's legal and what's allowed are two different things.
Right.
Sorry. On that day, I will punish all who avoid stepping on the threshold, who fill the temple of the gods with violence and deceit.
Okay.
On that day, declares the Lord, a cry, not me, a cry will go up from the fish gate. Remember, there's all the different gates in the city.
Right, yeah, that's a kind of a callback to a while ago. I can't remember which one that was, but yeah.
No, I can't either, but it's a class system, like different workers of different classes came in different gates.
Right.
So a cry will go up from the fish gate, wailing from the new quarter, that's the newly built portion of the city.
Okay, yeah.
And a loud crash from the hills. Wail, you who live in the market district. All your merchants will be wiped out. All who trade with silver will be destroyed.
This is a very familiar wording track, the whale and the gates and the... I feel like this might be the same author even.
Right.
It seems very familiar. So I'm just, it doesn't lend a lot of credence to the idea that this is a different author than another that might have been involved in other books.
It might have been a Zephaniah guy, was inspired by that earlier guy and copied his words.
That could very well be. I
don't know.
Yeah.
At that time, I will search Jerusalem with lamps and punish those who are complacent.
Okay.
Who are like wine left on its dregs, who think the Lord will do nothing either good or bad. Well, I guess that puts me out because I'm like, no, there is no Lord to do something good or bad.
Yeah, we would be, if there was a God, we'd be in big trouble.
I'm fine with that.
Right.
I'll take those chances.
Sure.
The odds are ever in my favor on this
People
one.
tell us all the time online that we're going to burn in hell. So, I mean, it's because Jesus put off our punishment. We aren't going to get punished in this life. We get punished later.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Whatever. I mean,
I figure all the cool people are down there. So,
well, here's the thing too. If you are getting pleasure out of that, then you are going to be there too. And moreover, if you are not getting pleasure out of it and you're actually telling me because you care, that's really sweet of you, but you're going to be in heaven where you will not be with your earthly body and you won't give a shit anymore.
I find, you're right. And I find it very telling that they'll often start by telling you that I'm telling you because I care about you.
And then
they go into laughing at you.
Yeah.
And I'm like, So no, you're telling me because you really enjoy the idea that I'm going to burn in hell.
You get pleasure.
This has nothing to do with you wanting to save me.
Yeah.
And you need to reevaluate your motives here because that's bullshit.
If what you're saying is fucking true, you better check yourself before you wreck yourself, because you're going to be right there with me.
Right. How do they not see the hypocrisy in those types of actions?
But they're like, but I said sorry, so it doesn't matter. And I'm like,
it's like if I said the words, I'm good, right?
I'm like, you are telling me God is all powerful and knows everything. Therefore, motherfucker, per your own understanding of God, he knows your heart, bitch.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can't have it both ways. He either knows that you're a fucking cunt and you'll be there with me, or he's not very powerful, in which case, fuck off. Who cares?
But, I feel like the biggest, I feel like that the whole thing with religion in general is that people, they get to have it both ways.
Yeah.
They're like, I'm going to interpret this however the fuck I want, and you're going to burn in hell. So, ha ha.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay. And that's where I'm left like, what?
Like, how do you even have a conversation?
I can't even talk to you. This is stupid.
Right.
You're
right.
acting like I can't. I just can't.
I mean, honestly, that's the feeling I had a few nights ago. I tried to have a discussion with my dad. I opened a dialogue with my dad, who is a MAGA Christian.
Right.
And I was trying to have a fair discussion, and ask questions, because I want to understand.
And to be fair, this wasn't about religion. It was about political
No, it was about politics, but his politics are wrapped in religion.
Right,
So it is related. And he sent me his point of view, and I sent mine back, just addressing, like, he had said so many things that I was like, all right, give me a minute while I piece this out, because I needed to... one at a time, right? So just addressing his first point, I explained, here's my understanding of the situation. And then I even sent a couple links for sources.
Yeah. He
sent me back literally like within 5 minutes, agree to disagree.
Right.
And I was like, to which part? And he goes, all of it. And I was like, oh my God, that is so dismissive. But then I pressed a little bit, and I was like, but some of that was based on my own personal experience. And so are you also saying agree to disagree on things that actually happened to me that I saw with my own eyes?
Right.
And he was like, just agree to disagree. And I was like, I can't. You're kind of making me feel a little bit crazy, because, if you don't believe me, where do we go from here?
Sure.
Yeah. And it was just that kind of conversation that's with my own dad, you know?
Yeah.
And that was me trying to have a fair discussion.
There is no fair discussion
but you can't.
Anymore. Yeah.
You can't. You can't even agree on fact. Like, he clearly did not read anything I wrote, and he certainly did not check out the links, one of which was one that I knew that he should most likely approve of as being a reliable source.
Right.
Because, you can't list certain sources to right wing because they think that they're skewed. Like, I would never send NPR to my parents.
Right.
Or I probably wouldn't send them New York Times for that matter either, which is funny because New York Times certainly is not super left by any stretch of the imagination.
Right.
But, also they think that Wikipedia is
they've
biased.
basically taken away any legitimate news sources as a source of information.
Exactly.
So there is nothing left to actually source that they would believe anyway. And they have to, on their own, if these people come out of these bubbles, they have to come out of it on their own.
Yeah.
There has to be some sort of a instigating factor that causes them to reevaluate their stance. And then it's nothing that we can do for them.
No. It just was very frustrating because, like, one of his sources was libs of TikTok.
Right.
Which I won't get into, but not a reliable source.
No,
guys.
not at all.
Somebody whose sole purpose in life is to make the libs cry or to own the libs or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm just like, really, Dad?
Right.
Anyway, you can't have a conversation with these people.
No.
Going on, their wealth will be plundered, he says, their houses demolished. Though they build houses, they will not live in them. Though they plant vineyards, they will not drink the wine.
Just double checking. We're still killing everybody, though,
We're
right?
still killing everybody.
All right, but also their wine is going to, okay.
Yeah.
Just
they'll
checking.
do the work, and then they'll die before they get a chance to reap the benefits.
All of them, yeah. Okay.
The great day of the Lord is near.
Okay.
The great day of the Lord.
Yeah.
That great day when people die.
Yeah.
That murderous.
Great has different. Great doesn't mean like
That's
good.
true.
It just is,
Oz
great.
the great and powerful.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. It doesn't necessarily mean good.
Right.
And there is a difference.
Yeah.
Near and coming quickly. The cry on the day of the Lord is bitter. The mighty warrior shouts his battle cry. What's the mighty warrior?
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, that's a Q&A.
Yeah.
That day will be a day of wrath. Jesus
Okay.
Christ. Like, that is such a powerful word.
Yeah.
Fucking wrath. A day of distress and anguish. A day of trouble right here in River City. And ruin. A day of darkness and gloom. A day of clouds and blackness. Somebody got out their thesaurus that day.
Yeah, they did.
A day of trumpet and battle cry against the fortified cities and against the corner towers. I will bring such distress on all the people that they will grope about like those who are blind because they have sinned against the Lord.
But they won't because they'll be dead.
No, but they'll suffer before they die.
Okay.
That's what he's saying.
It's this whole thing is so ridiculous.
It's so over the top
It really
and
is.
cruel.
It really is.
It's over the top and cruel. Their blood will be poured out like dust.
Okay.
And their entrails
Jesus
like
Christ.
dung.
Like dung?
Yes, like pooty. I'm going to pull out your fucking intestines like fart poop.
So now God is going to disembowel everybody.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
And spill out your blood like dust.
Yeah.
How does dust spill, I wonder?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm sure God, whatever.
God is silly and mean.
This is not funny. This is one of the ones
It's
like
horrific.
if we had read this early in the Bible, we would have been like, oh my fucking God.
Yeah.
But at this point, I've had him like threaten to kill humanity so many times that it's so numb that it's so over the top and ridiculous.
Yeah.
Because like he starts the whole chapter with I'm gonna kill everybody, and now we're into fucking leaving entrails out like poop.
Yeah.
I'm like, how did we get here?
It's funny how far we've come where something like this is no longer shocking or appalling. It is shocking and appalling.
Yeah.
But our reaction, like you said, we've become numb to it. We can't keep being.
Well, I have to put it in the context of people believe this shit. Like not just a little bit, but like wholeheartedly.
And zealously.
Yeah. And so I'm just like, I'm imagining people listening to this bullshit and hearing how God's going to kill everybody, but then not kill everybody, but also leave their entrails out like shit. And I can't imagine sitting can you imagine sitting there listening to this as a sermon?
This is what I'm imagining. When I imagine a group of people reading this, I imagine them sitting there reading this with self-satisfied grins.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
They're doing that thing where I imagine you burning in hell.
Right.
And they are imagining their enemies enduring this.
Because even though he started by saying everybody, obviously it doesn't mean them.
Right.
It doesn't
exactly.
You're the one. You're the one of like whatever out of a million he's going to save, and everybody in that room that's studying that thing, they all believe that same exact thing. Which
is funny because it's kind of like the Trump supporters who found out the hard way when they got fired from their jobs.
Yeah,
they were like, but I didn't think you meant me.
Right.
Or like the entire Latinx community who voted for Trump, and now several of them got deported, and they're like, but I thought you meant those other Mexicans or whatever, not me. Like, it's the same, right? It's the same. They're like, doesn't apply to me. I'm in good graces.
Right.
I love the king and the king loves me.
Sure.
And I'm like, you tell yourself that.
Yeah.
You bottom of the pile person. Okay. Neither their silver nor their gold will be able to save them on the day of the Lord's wrath. Ain't money in the world, huh?
Right, yeah.
Unless you have $5 million.
Right, then you get a gold
buy
card.
A cold card, yeah. In the fire of his jealousy, the whole earth will be consumed.
There's the jealousy thing.
The whole earth.
Right. And now we're back to the whole earth is going to be consumed. So,
for he will make a sudden end to all who live on the earth. The end.
Okay, what the fuck? Why does it matter? Why does it matter? Like, this whole chapter is like he's gonna kill everybody.
Do it.
I mean,
I fucking dare you.
We started the chapter with saying he's going to kill everybody. We ended the chapter with him saying he's going to kill everybody. Couldn't we have just said he's going to kill everybody and then move on to the next fucking thought?
No, we had to have all of the entrails and he's going to kill them and them and them and them and them and them and them.
Why do we need to go into like gory detail about how it's going to happen? It doesn't fucking matter. You're going to kill everybody and they're all going to be dead.
Except that it didn't happen.
It didn't, but like... We don't need to cut. Either you're going to do it or you're not.
Well, I kind of want to ask believers, though. So how do you reconcile this chapter where God is telling you, I'm going to kill everybody?
Oh, this is still coming to them.
Wait. Oh, yeah. I just realized that. No, you're right. This is on the day of the Lord. He's killing everybody.
Yeah. No, this is still something that they think is going to happen. If you're talking to a Christian, I think. And that's how I would.
And they have decided that can't apply to them, and that's where they get the what is that thing where they're going to get
the rapture,
right? Which, from what I've read, is not actually in the Bible.
Right. That's I think it's from Dante's
thing or something.
Oh, I thought it was from something else.
Is it? I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah,
that's later when we get into studying that shit that we'll figure that out. But
we'll have to learn about the rapture and do a bonus episode.
Specifically, I don't think in the Bible.
I don't think so either, and I could be totally wrong.
I could also on that.
I thought I had heard that it's not in the Bible.
As much as we've read, we're still a bit ignorant on it.
Oh, totally. Well, anything New Testament, I know nothing about.
Right, other than Jesus and stuff, and
but even that's kind of vague.
Yeah.
Well,
he was a carpenter, right?
Maybe. Depends who you ask.
Yeah.
But I feel like the rapture probably wasn't in the Bible, but Christians had to somehow come up with something that explains why I will kill everybody.
Yeah.
It has like an asterisk, like, except for all the true believers.
Right.
Like, no, that's not what it says, though.
Right.
Yeah. So.
No, there's definitely, I don't know. I can't. That's so over the top.
Everybody, the end.
Yeah.
I'm going to kill everybody. Bye.
All right. Well, that was a rough chapter.
It was a ride.
With all the dead and the dying.
And the shit. And
entrails and
yeah.
Crazy. Mm-hmm. So that's how we're starting Zephaniah.
All right.
That was Zephaniah chapter 1. And we'll try to be back tomorrow with...
Zephaniah chapter 2.
All right. We'll see you then.
Bye.
Hey, wife. I guess that's the end?
But husband, that's just sad.
It doesn't have to be. We are on lots of social media platforms like Twitter. Our handle there is sacrilegious_D.
For D's nuts.
Oh my God. Stop doing that. Anyway, we're also on Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest. There's a link to all of our social media sites at our website.
Ooh, we have a website?
Yeah, it's sacrilegiousdiscourse.com, where you can also find a link to our merch shop.
We have a merch shop?
Yep. We have podcast-themed clothing, mugs, notebooks, and more, as well as an atheist and science-themed products.
Wow, our fans should really go check that out right now.
Definitely. They can get in touch with us by sending an email to sacrilegiousdiscourse@gmail.com. But before they do that, we could really use some help.
Oh yeah? With what?
Well, it's not free running the podcast, and we need some financial support in order to get better equipment, which will free up time so we can concentrate on our podcast and our fans.
Okay, so what should they do?
Head over to patreon.com/sacrilegious discourse and sign up as a contributor on our podcast. Supporters there receive additional bi-weekly episodes that we record just for our Patreon members for as little as $2 a month.
Also, we'd really appreciate it if you would like and subscribe on whatever platform you're using.
And Apple Podcast reviews help us out tremendously.
Like and subscribe. Leave an Apple review. Join us on Twitter. Support us on Patreon. That's a lot of instructions. Don't forget to say thanks.
Thanks.
Okay, bye.